Hello there. I'm Helen Knight, and this is Josie Hernandez. And thank you, Josie, for joining me today. And we're going to have a conversation today. Our main focus is around the Divine Feminine Reclamation Mentorship program that I have, and what can happen when we dive into reclaiming our divine feminine. But I'd love to step back a few years before. Josie, how did you come into my community?
Uh, through divine help from the universe, I was seeking guidance, and I had just a couple of plant medicine, other different types of plant medicine ceremonies, but the integration piece of those ceremonies was lacking, and so I often felt left with these very big questions and not sure how to process them or how to, let's say, seek answers. I know better than, to think that I'm going to get a full answer about all the universe's mysteries and questions, but just the what now, when you have this connection with something outside of yourself and you're like, what, okay, what now? What do I do with
Yeah.
what I have just experienced? And so I thought, I think I might find somebody online that can help me navigate this next step about the portal opening and figuring out how do I access that again, and how, why was it open for me, and all of these existential questions. And so I think I just did a Google search, and your name popped up, and I looked at your website, and you just get that initial, I don't know how, when you open up a website and you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
And that's exactly how I felt. I went through your website and I was like, this is resonating. Let me call her. And I contacted you, and you were just like so on top of it, call me right back. And we had this conversation. And I think I might have mentioned to you that I had done other plant ceremonies, and then particularly the way that you embody and practice the medicine, and I think we had a conversation about the questions that I had and my intentions for wanting, and took it from there. And I just kind of went with it and trusted that I had found the right guide.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, so that was the beginning, and I remember talking to Josie's been in my community for what, about 4 years ish, something
Mhm.
like that. And Josie is Mexican American, and I spent lots of time in Chile, and I love speaking Spanish. And I remember that was one of our connections too, that we spoke lots of Spanish,
That's right.
which we loved. Yeah, so an immediate connection. And then we had a couple. So you came and experienced quite a few plant medicine ceremonies.
Yeah,
Do you know even know how many you've done?
I want to say maybe 15,
Yeah, yeah,
something like that. I think I
yeah.
stopped counting after 10. So,
And then when I was noticing, well, first of all, the plant medicines asked me to start working with women with connecting them to their wombs and accessing the power in there, which this was about 2 years ago now. And yeah, about this time, 2 years ago. And, um, and so I also at the same time created a women's retreat where we're focusing on the womb awakening. And so with these retreats, there was big stuff moving, and so I created the Divine Feminine Reclamation Mentorship to support it because Josie, did you have a connection to your womb? Now you've had a child, um, so you were obviously connected there. We're always connected to our womb when we have our monthly period. Um, but were you connected to your womb in any other way, shape, or form?
I don't think so. Definitely not in the way that I have learned about the power and the connection to our womb and the creative power that our womb holds. So no, I don't think so. I often, with my menstrual cycles, saw it the connection of my to my womb as a negative thing.
Yeah.
Cramps, back pain, the whole
Yep.
feeling. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of dreaded getting my period and so it was never a connection where I honored it and saw it as sacred. I saw it as sacred at the birth of my child, but other than that, no, I think we're conditioned to think that the womb is made just for creation of life, and then that's it. And so I had no idea. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes. So, you start going, oh, yeah, this sounds kind of woo-woo, but then, yeah, with these women retreats, and you start connecting, you start understanding, you start getting an idea of what you're talking about. You're like, oh my God, how did I go 50 years not
Not
knowing?
knowing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely not before.
Right. Not before. Okay. Yeah. That's what I have found that most women are just like, they're annoyed by their womb. If they're
Right.
not trying to get pregnant, then it's annoying, like trying not to get pregnant.
Right.
And then the period, right? And that's it.
Right.
And so that's what so as we worked through the mentorship,
Mhm.
where are you now with your relationship with your womb? How do you see your womb?
Well, to let you know, every morning and part of my meditation practice, I thank my womb. I
Yay!
thank my womb and I honor it. I think now, I'm not, I'm not shameful around the things that my womb has to experience, right? And so I don't hide the fact that I am not feeling great, and I don't hide the fact that I'm possibly experiencing the transition into menopause,
Mhm.
and so I start off my mornings by honoring my womb and thanking it and praising it. And I think, during my period, I used to be like, oh, I got my period. Oh, it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for my connection to Mother Earth through my blood. Having rituals around, menstruation and seeing it in an entirely new light. So I would say it's a complete 180 of what I was conditioned to think the womb was, and then now I'm just kind of, I touch my womb from time to time, and during the day, and I hold it sacred. I've read now books that you've recommended on the power of the womb, and how to honor it and how to tap into that divine energy that you hold within you. And so it's a complete 180.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. I love hearing that you on it every day. Beautiful. Do you see it as some women like to think of their womb as like womb consciousness, womb intelligence, the womb portal, the treasure chest. Like when I first, because I was the same as Josie, like I had no clue either. And then once I started learning about this, I was like, this is a treasure chest that we have between our hips.
Mm.
And so just curious how like it looks like a chalice. like the form of the womb and the ovaries. It looks like a chalice. Chalice holds something sacred. Uh, yeah, curious how if you think of it that way. But I like to think of mine as the womb portal, um, because no, sorry, not the womb, well, womb portal, but the womb oracle, because
Mm,
that's a big piece of reclaiming our divine feminine is our strong intuition that we women, men have intuition too, but we women have like a that sixth sense. We have more than that, but
mhm.
how do you think of yours? Like, do you think of it in that way?
I kind of I kind of think of it as like a creative cauldron, a cauldron that's
Ooh.
holding all possibilities of creativity
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
wisdom. And so it's
Mm,
just kind of this, yeah, it's kind of like a cauldron that's holding all of these beautiful creative gifts for me, and like you said, intuition and access to our own divinity. And so I kind of see it as this cauldron of just beautiful light and um yeah, like a beautiful shimmering light that's just there holding me and allowing me to tap into what I was born with that I was not ever made aware.
you're aware of. Yes, yes. And are you? I know we tapped in it when we did the mentorship, but sometimes we get a lot of information. Sometimes we forget. But do you remember that your ovaries are like your bank vault, and that they hold your gifts from this lifetime, the ancestral gifts, and your gifts from other lifetimes. And like I love to think of my ovaries. I'm in menopause as well, and it's I find it fascinating when I feel energy there, and I just think of the like an egg releasing down into the fertile garden of my womb to be sprouting into my new creation. So curious if you ever
That's beautiful.
play with that.
That's so beautiful. If I ever play with the like the imagery,
Yeah, that concept of like just to remembering that your ovaries are a bank vault, like those eggs in
yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of see them like lotuses,
lotuses.
like
Okay.
a lotus flower
Mm-hmm.
just opening up and releasing this beautiful seed, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, and then it going into this beautiful portal, this beautiful canal of light
Mm-hmm.
and just releasing. So yeah, so that's kind of my imagery is this beautiful lotus flower on each side opening up,
Mm-hmm.
and just allowing the seed to come through and just kind of deposits itself into the womb for ready for whatever creative, you know, insight or gift of life or anything else. It's not just, gift of life, but any other seed of that I want to manifest
Yeah.
something out of.
Beautiful. And we're on this topic of I never know where these conversations are going to go, and I love this. One of the things that Josie did in during the mentorship is she had her red tent. I think you called it the red tent, right? And it was a tradition in the
Mm-hmm.
old days where all the women, as if you're a woman listening to this, you often know that if you're living with a woman, you will often get into sync and you'll have your periods at the same time. And so people living in tribes, they would go to the red tent and all the women would bleed together
Mm-hmm.
and take that time because that's a big, big piece of this. I call it the false patriarchy. Is that we must always go, 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 and our cycles are. I like to think of them as four seasons, and when we're bleeding, we're in our winter, and we're meant to go inward. We're meant to slow down. We're meant to not be having a 20 people dinner party. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a you're releasing everything from the month and honoring your body and what she needs. And Josie did that. Do you want to share about that? I loved it. I remember you. I can't remember how it all came to be, but you just said, "This is what I've been doing." And I said, "Tell your family." And yeah, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it was inspired by actually this book that I have right here. It's one of my favorite books. It's called The Red Tent.
Okay, beautiful.
And it was a beautiful story. And doing the womb work with you, it just and reading this book, and it kind of all came together. And I'm going to Red Tent every month, and in honor of my
Mhm.
own self healing, because when you get your period, you're releasing a lot of things that need to be released and things that need to heal. And so I announced to my family that I was red tenting in my little meditation room upstairs. And so I went up to my room and I put on candles and beautiful meditation music. And I have my spiritual library there. And I just laid there by the window, allowing the sun just to come in and warm my womb,
Mm.
right? And then my daughter came up and brought me tea and dinner. And she walked in there. She goes, "This is beautiful," because I had the candles and the music, and I had some copal burning. And so she came in and brought me dinner and tea because she's being raised in the way to honor, now that I know, for her to honor herself and her womb. And so she goes, "Can I sit down for a second?" And she sat on the floor and she joined me with tea. And it was beautiful. And then my son came in to ask me a question. And then all of a sudden he goes, "Can I lay down here?" And the next thing I know, I'm massaging his head. I'm like, wait, 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 wait. This is my red tent. Because everybody just would come in and go, "Oh, this is really cozy and nice." And so now I do that as a ritual. As I get my period, I'll grab my tea and I'll go upstairs and I announce to everybody, I'm off limits
Yeah.
and I'm going to be resting and honoring the work that my body does every month, and honoring that it needs rest and restoration.
Yeah.
And so now it's part of my monthly ritual to red tent. I call it
Oh, love it.
red tent.
Love it. Now,
Yeah.
some cycles, every woman's different, but some cycles are sometimes it's like 3 days, sometimes 5 days, sometimes longer. Are you red tenting the whole time or for like maybe your first or second, the big days or
Yes. For me, it's the first or second day, depending what my energy level is.
okay.
And whether I have back pain, cramps. And so for me, it's typically the first 2 days.
First 2 days.
Third day I start feeling better and
Okay.
more energy. So yeah, first 2 days.
And
And I
you're
mean, if you can afford to, I know not
right,
everybody can, but
right. Which
and I started telling work too, you're supposed to keep it a secret. And I started telling people, my immediate team at work, I am not going to be joining any calls today. I am on my period. I'm resting. And you would have thought it was like, oh, but it could be because just articulating that and voicing that, people
wow.
get really uncomfortable. But I'm like, I have my moon cycle. And I know they probably thought I was crazy. I have my moon cycle and I'm not feeling well. So I'm not going to be on any Zoom calls today. Because I'm going to say
Woo!
it because this is not
Yeah.
something to be
Yeah.
ashamed of, and it needs to be heard.
Right.
So that's what I meant by I don't hide the ugliness of our monthly, our
Yeah.
monthly work.
And you just mentioned two words, the ugliness and the shame. That's
Mhm.
been the demonization of
Right.
the divine feminine, which we are dissolving. We're letting that go by the wayside because we need the divine feminine just like the divine masculine. We need both. And we're in a time right now where she's coming back to reclaim her spot next to uh, the men have to do their work, but that healthy masculine. And by what, like, Josie, that part I didn't know. Josie and I are, we share a lot, but I
Mhm.
did not know that you told your team. That is a huge celebration.
Oh
That,
yeah, no, I started doing that and with the boys, my boys here at home. I
yeah,
mean, I don't announce it to everybody but
right,
I do say it to people that are in my circle that are, I might not be around or available.
yeah. Which is
Um,
huge. And this is an invitation to anybody listening to do the same because shame, always like with some of my mentees, it's shame can't exist in the light. And so when we speak about it, bring it out into the light, it just dissolves the shame. It just does. It can't exist.
mhm.
Um, as one of my clients said, she called it the mold shame, and mold can only grow if there's no light, right?
Right, in dark
In the dark,
places.
wet, it's yeah. And so that's so beautiful. I love that,
Yeah.
Josie. Wow. And curious, because you worked mainly with men, right?
Mhm.
What was the response? Was it like, oh, okay, fine, or what was
It
it?
was like they weren't quite sure how to take it, but the next couple of months they were like, okay, yeah, take your time, take the time you need. So it took like about once or twice that I was like,
Okay.
nope, I'm not taking any meetings. I'm going to be off for the next couple days, and then to take all the time you need. You just need to just shift the mindset a little bit. And I don't think all men are brutes that are going to be like
Oh,
this terrible. I Another funny story is I had CPR training for our foster child. We have to recertify every 2 years. And so my husband and I went together to the CPR place last Wednesday, and we walk into the room and they had the heaters on full blast. And so the air was just blowing hot air. And I said, oh my God, it's hot in here. And the gentleman was an ex-Vietnam vet who was teaching the class. He goes, yeah, well, it was really cold when I came in here. I said, yeah, but now it's so hot. And so I said, do you mind turning down the heat? And he looked at me like, are you going to be one of those annoying people? He gave me that look. And I said, and there was 10 other men there that were part of a tree company, and they were getting CPR certified. So it was all men, my husband and I. And so I said, can you mind turning it down? It's so hot. I said, I'm in menopause. And he goes, oh, yes, yes, yes. And he went and turned it down. And my husband was teasing me because I said, I'm glad I brought to his attention gently. He goes, gently, you walked in that room and you announced you were menopause to everybody. I said, I don't know if I did
yes,
that, but I
yes.
said, he immediately changed it. He goes, yes, yes, absolutely. And he turned down the heat. But yeah, it's just, why do I need to hide it? I'm like, I'm
Right.
hot.
Yeah.
And there's a very reasonable explanation why I may be very hot and not everybody else.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Oh, wow. Beautiful celebration. So that brings me to two things that you're bringing up is the connection. As a healer, I've been a healer for 16 years, and for years before, again, it's only been 2 years working doing this womb work. Um, Always the women would write intentions. I courageously speak my truth. I am heard. Like that was a big one, our throat chakra.
mhm, mhm.
And there would be progress, but not as I could see in society. Women's voices were not being heard. Like you just there, you were dismissed there initially by this gentleman, and then when you spoke a little louder, and then you were honored. And Josie, do you want to talk about the connection that you've learned around the throat and the womb?
Oh, right. So recently in our like a support circle of women that have gone through the women retreats, the divine feminine retreats, we were sharing in there some stuff about our using our voice. And Helen has always mentioned that your womb is connected to your voice. And so,
Twins.
yeah, they're twins. And so she said, you heal your womb, you're going to activate your voice. And so that made sense. But the proof of what she was saying that I was like, is I don't know where I was looking through a book and I saw the anatomy of the womb and the anatomy of the larynx and the voice box right here and the womb are identical. They're just turned around.
Yeah.
And I looked at that picture. I had to share it with the group because I thought, this is identical anatomy. This is how Helen was saying these two are connected. They're twins. And so if you look at the anatomy of the voice box and the larynx, all of this is identical to the womb. And so I found that fascinating because yes, instinctively and intuitively, what you said made sense,
Mhm.
but seeing the
Yeah.
anatomy,
Right.
right? Sometimes our
Like
brains need to tap
anchored.
into
Yeah.
the material
Mhm.
proof, right? Even though we know something, it's like, here's the material proof.
Yeah.
And so that was mind blowing.
So you just gave that perfect example around how you spoke up around the heat. Please turn it down. Have you found, since we've done, worked, deeply with awakening, healing your womb and awakening your womb power, that you are speaking up more and you're being heard?
Yes, absolutely. There's something, it's not that I've been afraid to speak up before, but I feel now when I speak up, like the force, the strength behind the voice.
Mm,
And so I feel like I can now speak with this. I guess I
confidence?
liken it to like, all of these goddesses behind me supporting me. It's just like this invisible force of strength. So now when I
Mm.
speak, I feel that power in my voice. And
Wow.
before I used to speak up, I wasn't afraid to speak up, but it was more if I was going to speak up, it was more like me trying to be a rebel or be trying to like stoke fires or instigate, but not really with a purpose, and a strength.
Oh, right. Okay.
And now I feel the strength of my words and how they're landing,
Yeah.
like with that gentleman. I said, "Excuse me, I'm in menopause. Can you please lower it?" And the way he looked at me and it completely changed. And he did even make a joke when class started. Everybody was introducing themselves and he goes, "And this is Josie, and she's already let me know that she's experiencing some challenges, right now with the heat. And so everybody please be supportive." And I was like, well, I didn't necessarily want that. But, my husband just looked at me and he made a joke because he always does. And he's like, "Oh, now it's going to be the menopause card that you pull." Um, but yeah, there's a strength of force.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And you, did you notice it? I want to get to your retirement, how you got there, but did you notice it when you were working? Was there anything? Because that was something that we definitely worked with it when you first started the mentorship. Like, I speak my truth and I'm heard because you working with a bunch of men, you know, oh, it's just Josie talking. Did you notice anything? You only had maybe a couple months. I don't know how many months, but
Yeah.
did you notice anything?
I only had a couple months. I mean, I felt like, as I mentioned to you before, I kind of wore mask at work, right? And I had to wear this mask where I was like the um, super, is it right brain, left brain, the analytical part, and the serious person, and so, but it always felt like a mask. And I think towards the end, I was just like, I'm going to be myself because I can be jovial and I can be personable and affable and still care about the work.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of let go of that narrative or that perception that they had of me. And I just said, okay, I will speak my truth in a way that I want to speak it. And so I did notice that. And I think one of the last few things that I did was the government was shut down for a while. So after we came back and everybody was talking about how's your shutdown and blah, blah. And I said, well, I've decided to retire. And I would have never said this at work, but they said, really, how did you decide? And I said, I've got these signs from the universe, and I told them about it. I said, you guys are gonna think I'm woo, but I don't care. I said, this is how my decision came because I said, when you look around, if you decide to look around, there's magic everywhere. You just and so I just said it, and one of the retirement messages that I got from somebody said, thank you for reminding us about the magic that exists in our world. And I was like,
From a man
wow,
or from a woman?
a man,
Oh,
a man. The one I said that to, I said it to two men, and one of them said, thank you for the beautiful reminder that there's magic in our world. And
that
I was like, wow. Because I said, you guys will think I'm crazy or cuckoo, but this is how I came to my decision. And I said, you know, the universe is talking to you, and you just gotta be able to open up your antenna and receive the messages. Um, so it was, yeah, I was just like, I don't care if they think I'm crazy.
and that's what I love too, like because what's what I'm hearing, because I've been doing this now for a year and a half, and so as the women are graduating, I'm hearing, I just, I'm just me.
Hmm.
I don't even just take the word just out, but I get to be, I mean, it's one of those things you hear over and to be your authentic self. And even for me,
Hmm.
it's like, I didn't even want to put that on my website, but that's what's happening is
Hmm.
you women are becoming who you are. That's what we're meant to be here. We're like, sometimes people are like, what is my life purpose? It's like for you to be you, right? That sounds easy to say, but that you are being you. And the magic you're talking, that's the feminine. That's the divine feminine. That's the essence, the magic, the intuition, the yeah, connecting to spirit, to universe. And we've been so programmed to if it's not in black and white and we can't prove it, then it doesn't exist. Which I
Right,
think, yeah, that we know that's not true.
right.
That's not true. Is more so many ways I want to go with this with you. Um, is there more magic happening in your world?
Every day, right? Every
Yeah.
day. Yes, absolutely, every day. I mean, I went from it's not big magic every day, but
Doesn't need to be,
it
right?
doesn't need to be, right? Every little synchronicity, I'm like, thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. Thank you for, I mean, you're aware of all the other big magic starting from, starting the year before right as the DFR program I was starting, and this huge cloud of just uncertainty of what was going to happen. And then
This was back in November of last year.
November last year, and how it was going to impact my work. Um, Everything that was going on in the world was going to impact my work, and so we kind
Meanwhile,
of
I'm
went
just going to
through.
put in parentheses that Josie, as I said, I've known Josie a long time, and she's just been doing this job. And I'm just, when I found out what she did, I was like, you do what? Because it was sounded so boring for this woman with such a magnificent personality, with so many, she's so personable and just friendly and listens and can talk to anybody. And I just was shocked with her job. And that was part of your intention, was to find a new job that could really, where all your gifts were, where you could really be you, right? And so what happened?
And so out of the blue, I not expected at all, not uh nowhere near, even the head of my agency didn't know that he was going to be put in a situation where he was going to offer early retirements for people that weren't eligible to retire. And so I was shocked when he said, this is a situation, and in order to avoid a huge layoffs, we're going to offer retirements for people that are willing to take them, and all benefits will you'll keep all your benefits, and you have the opportunity to retire now if you want. And so I called Helen. I was like, you're not going to believe this, but we were working on, you know, what, what job, what career would light my life up, and we were thinking maybe within the organization, but I think Spirit said, no, you're not going to stay in the organization.
Mm-mm. You're going to have free will to do whatever,
Yes.
freedom to do what you want.
Your soul's path is not in this organization. And you've been asking for guidance for your, guidance to follow your soul's path. And so it just blew up that way. And I thought, okay, well, I still need my my logical brain wants proof that this is the right choice. So this is what I mean by asking the universe for signs, and then you get them and you're like, wow, okay, I'm a fool if I don't listen. No, I'm really a fool if I don't listen, right? And everybody around me knows that, this was big magic, and it happens. And when it happens, you're like, I gotta listen to this.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now. And, like I told Helen, I'm like, all of those, all that work that we did, setting our intentions, going through our intentions every time we met, and doing, the healing and the work, it puts it out there. And now the universe has to conform to your reality that you've created.
Yes. Well said. Well said. And now
Yeah.
you're a couple weeks into retirement. You're adjusting. Do we have any idea, any guidance yet where we're going with the retirement? With you're so young. I doubt you're going to sit home and twiddle your thumbs.
No, I'm not, but I do think it's important to find a little bit of stillness.
Absolutely.
And
So
so
key.
that's where I'm at right now, is just
Okay.
be in stillness and listen
Yeah,
to the answers.
we have to share. Josie and I could chat forever, but Josie's first plant medicine ceremony with me, she thought it was chat party. Let's take the medicine and just sit down and have a good chat. And I was like, no, you need to go find the stillness, the quietness to be able to hear the guidance from the medicine, from nature. And she struggled. Oh, we did. That's why we needed all those ceremonies. What is it? Is it this past? Like, when do you think you finally got this? Because I always say stillness is the axis point, when stillness is the feminine. The masculine, again, there's nothing to do with gender. The masculine is the action, it's the moving, but the feminine is that being, the stillness. So when did you feel like it finally the penny dropped?
It took a while. It did take a while. I think probably in the last year, and I think it had a lot to do with working with you in the program.
Yeah.
Um, I think because it allowed, outside of the ceremony, because the ceremonies are always around with other people. Personally, for me, it's a little distracting. Not that they're distracting me, but I'm distracted by them, because I want to be in community. So I think going through the program with you, and you helping me with setting up, rituals, the power hour, which is so important. Power hour before you start your day, sit with yourself, and slowly kind of implement these rituals into your life. And I think that kind of started clicking, and I'm like, okay, well, let me try this. She said to do this, start off with your energy product. So it just kind of started clicking. I'm like, okay, let me let me try this. And I think slowly building up that meditation work, and being still with myself, once I started that, it quickly went into I need my time and I need to be alone. And I started doing ceremonies with like just two or three friends. And I would start noticing that I would hear, them chatting and I just wanted to close my eyes and go inward. And I'm like, why? And so I was like, not wanting to engage in a ceremony with them. I'm like, okay, I just want to close my eyes. And they would be chatting and be asking me questions. And I think I told Helen, I'm like, I just wanted to go inward and feel what I was feeling. And so I couldn't believe it. And now I take walks in nature by myself and
It's huge.
sit and do nothing and just be there. And yeah, and I
Oh,
think that's really when it took off is starting. And I think the DFR program really helped me with that because it kind of set a small structure for me. And I say small because, now it's expanded to me, but it just to know, like, you get your power hour and you sit with yourself and you connect with yourself. More importantly, than before you connect with any other human being, you connect with yourself. And it was so important to me because I'm always looking to connect with other people. And I had no idea what it meant to just connect with yourself
wow.
and acknowledge yourself and say hello. And so I think that's really what was the rocket ship that took off.
Wow.
Very important work. And I know not everybody can, do a power hour. Sometimes you have little kids and it just happens that my kids are older now and I'm able to devote this time to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's finding wherever it works in your schedule.
Right.
Wow. Wow. Celebration is a big part of what we do because women are not, we're taught not to celebrate ourselves. And so learning to be celebrated, to celebrate yourself. And so I am celebrating you, Josie, big time.
Thank you.
With this, your statement that you are sitting in stillness. She just what you retired at the end of November, right?
Mhm.
We're now on the 15th, 13th of December. Yeah. So not even 2 weeks. And to hear that you are sitting in stillness as you connect to your womb, to your inner knowing, and to spirit to guide you on what is the going to be the next chapter, the next unfolding. So I think this is a really good place to end our conversation today. Um, Sitting in stillness. Stillness is the access point. Wow. And this is
Yeah, I still remember you saying that.
it's
So
just yeah.
yes,
And
absolutely.
it's massive, massive for this lovely lady who, 4 years ago, that was not within the.
It was impossible to
It was
fathom.
right, right. There you go. Thank you.
You had to banish me to a mountain to sit in a rock and oh, and I just fought it. I'm like, she doesn't know what kind of journey I'm supposed to have. And I love people and you
And
know,
now you're craving it. I love it. I love.
uh, yeah. And every time you post something on Instagram about you walking in nature, and I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous that she gets to do this every day if she wants to.
Every day. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit's got me living up here in these mountains. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Josie, for your time today and for sharing from your heart and your womb.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing this work and leading so many women to their own divinity, and reminding them that they don't need an intermediary,
Mm,
for their own divinity. And so thank you for all your guidance.
thank you.
Yeah.
Fully receiving.
Aho.
Oh.